God, I cannot remember the last time that we saw a pulse ban here in the NA League.
Yeah, we don't really get a lot of pulse bans, Parker, but when we do, it is on consulate. I do vaguely recall the last time we had a pulse ban. I don't remember who was playing, but it was on consulate. It's uncommon, to be sure. Essentially, what that pulse ban does is it disables the use, or not, rather, doesn't disable the use. It makes it very difficult to hold Teller's archives because that site requires quite a lot of vertical play. It's hard to actually hold the Teller's site, so you do it from below with pulse. Not so in this match.
It'll be interesting to see how it unfolds. If you look at the lineup for Mirage here, well, you've got some flexibility as to how you want to deal with this split bomb site, which is going to be the first place that we go to, and not even a second is wasted before an impact is tossed out by Quartz, and it deals a bit of damage to Dream. Not a ton, but he's lost about 15 HP, which, depending on what kind of gun you're going up against in range, that could be the difference between surviving 4 bullets or 5.
Yeah.
Not exactly the start that you want. Obviously, the pulse ban coming out from Mirage, and then them immediately going to this bomb site, a bomb site which so often is characterized by as much C4 as you can possibly get, and Pulse being able to give you intel as to where to throw it, is going to be fun to watch, because they clearly know something that we don't.
Yeah, it's really cool, Parker, when you get these pocket strats where clearly the team that has put themselves in the debilitating position, or seemingly debilitating position, they have to have something up their sleeves. And that's the case here. So I'm curious to see what these angles are going to be like and how Mirage is going to actually hold Tellers. From the offset, it looks like it's going to be prioritizing the vertical play, holding above the site rather than focusing on below. But we always see some light roam upstairs. This just seems like a more heavy investment for Mirage.
Quite a heavy investment. You've got castle barricades up top, an abundance of reinforcements. Look at those ADSs, a deployable shield as well. You've got Dream down below. He doesn't have access to a nitro cell. In fact, a bomb site that you'll often see as many as 4 nitro cells be provided by the defense. There's only a single one, and it's in the hands of Nyx. The bad thing for Mirage is Nyx can be frequently the first death on Mirage's side. If he goes, then there goes your explosive capability on the diffuser being planted.
There's got to be contingencies here, though, for Mirage. And the focus for Disrupt appears to be on a take upstairs. Clear out the roamers first is their philosophy. West side over. They've got 2 pairs of boots, rather, on the ground. And they're already starting to take care of this shield at the top of Visa Stairs. Success for DP Fire. Using a lot of that utility, but job done all the same.
Using it quite appropriately, and because they've now shaken Benji off of the top of Visa Stairs, his ADSs will persist, provided they didn't blow up to the explosive, but the deployable shield is as good as gone. So now, where does he go? Well, he nestles in admin a little bit safer as we hit the halfway point in round number 1.
Ooh.
There goes the very first lion charge, and look at this. It's going to be a hot swap. Nice ping from DP Fire. DG claims the very first kill, and then the second to follow it as well, as DP Fire has control of the back of B bomb site. Retro getting that diffuser down while Iconic takes some damage. Loading will try to help his team as best as he can. Are they aware of the fact that the diffuser gets planted? It certainly doesn't seem that way. It's down successfully. Lion charge gets called as well. So Mirage have control of the first floor and possibly still the second. But the actual bomb site down in the basement is firmly in the clutches of Disrupt. This is going to be tough. 30 seconds remaining, a 3v5 where Mirage will try to drop, but the hatches are being controlled quite readily by DG. Another lion charge will go out. Benji on the retake. He doesn't know where anybody is. Do they even know where the diffuser is located? That's the real question. No control upstairs in lobby. Shuttle still watching flank. 1 kill for Quartz, but that'll be it as Disrupt claim round number 1.
Wow. One word to describe that round, Parker. Airtight for Disrupt. And I think that is earned by Iconic. I mean, that overall, the execution there, Disrupt put together perfectly to counter the setup for Mirage. I honestly thought that what we saw from Mirage would be something that would cause problems for Disrupt's execution, because the setup was a little bit different than what we're used to seeing. It was a much harder investment upstairs. But what Disrupt did is the same thing that we've seen a lot of teams do on Consulate. They played the feint game. They faked a take upstairs, then immediately rotated off of the top floor as soon as they got the shield, whether it was deliberate or they just decided, you know what, we don't want to deal with the top floor last minute. And then they hit downstairs to follow up their feint upstairs. It's beautiful how quickly they managed that and how well put together the execution was, especially that drop in through the main lobby. You know, you love to see little pieces of coordination like that, little nuggets that go a long way to the overall coordination of the team.
I mean, there was a glaring hole in Mirage's defense. The main lobby was completely unprotected. There was nobody holding it. You had 3 players from Mirage sitting upstairs, all by admin. You had 1 on the main floor playing over inside of Visa. And then you had 1 playing in the basement, which was the Warden. And as good as Warden is, he's not exactly the operator that you want to be able to take on multiple foes at the same time when utility is still in the hands of the attackers. Whether it was a feint or not, it was a good call from Disrupt to assess that most of the structure of the defense was upstairs. There was a huge blind spot in the defense of Mirage, and that was the main lobby. You just hot drop that hatch. As long as you've got somebody droning on that Warden, you know that the site is free and clear, and the only way down to it are hatches or through stairs, and both of them are very easily watched by the attackers.
You know, Parker, some might say that that round was a good example of adaptable siege versus, you know, rigid strat siege. Do you think that that setup from Mirage was just kind of a harken to the archaic ways of just having set strats that are so rigid they're easy to play around? Or do you think that it's just Mirage being slow to react?
I mean, the lack of C4 suggests to me that if you're trying to plant on that first floor, that you're going to have a pretty good time of it. As long as you can take some of that second floor control, then, you know, you'll be all right. But I think that Mirage were too all in on a set strat, and they didn't react to it well enough. They really couldn't. They'd already expended so much of their utility up top. You can't really reposition those ADSs, those deployable shields, and those mirrors and castles. They're there to stay. You don't have time to move them when you know that the attack is coming onto the bottom floor.
In this round here, we've got some really quick control for Disrupt over by admin, and they've pushed the Roamers of Mirage back. Still, though, some upstairs. Nyx and Quartz playing by Yellow and Bathroom. This is a common position to play at a late stage in a roam because you could fall back down the staircase, usually without being punished. And I think their positions are going to be expected. It looks like the attack actually thinks there's somebody in CEO, but the drones will verify that that is not the case, and the action will start by Yellow Stairs.
They have no mute, they have no Mozzie, they don't have no vigil. All they have is the Mozzie to try and slow them down. And speaking of, it's Quartz inside of the bathroom. He has a way out towards Yellow Stairs. He'll be slowed down, but for a moment as that lion charge goes off. Nice grenade tossed out. J90's nades have been hitting the spot, and that's a down onto Nyx through the wall. So far, DG are capitalizing in every single way on these takes, and they are pulverizing Mirage.
There's a weird use of the Zofia lifeline. It's actually stunned his teammate in Piano. The control is so firm for Disrupt, they're even tripping over themselves. Only Dream and Loading now as they have to retake. Loading gets 1 at least, so once again, Parker, not a flawless round, but Dream misses his opportunity there and starts getting some punishment as he starts to slip away to the garage. Half HP on these last 2 defenders, and they have to hold out for 30 seconds. Not going to be an easy order here. Disrupt know that they've got the win in the bag. They just have to be patient, and they're going to use all of their time to finally execute onto the site. Candela pushing a player out of security, but Loading gets his second kill, and Dream adds to it. Suddenly, this is a 2 versus 2, but Iconic, a big frag as Dream, the last defender, goes up banana to rotate over to Yellow Stairs. A good position. He needs to stop the plant, but he can't even stay alive. DP Fire, the final kill, and yet another round for Disrupt.
Well, that was a lot closer than it needed to be for Disrupt. I'm sure they would agree on that one. The very first pick that came from Mirage could have been really it, as Disrupt had the location of at least one of the 2 former players. But when you've got a Mozzie on the board and you've only got about 30 seconds left, at that point, I'd say that you're flying blind. I didn't see anybody from Disrupt go back onto drone. They all pushed different avenues, whether it be Yellow Stairs, whether it be Spiral. It didn't really matter. When you find yourself going up against a smoke, and you find yourself going up against the Vector of a Mira, if they are allowed to take staggered 1v1 engagements, they will thrive in that particular area. They don't necessarily have the weaponry to engage multiple enemies at once. That Vector's going to run out of bullets very quickly. The SMG-11 will do the same. And as much as we've seen Smoke be able to play those rodeo plays, pulling the shotgun out and then taking the SMG-11 with him, there's so many angles that Smoke was playing over by the Spiral Stairs where you can very easily get shut down and just simply not be able to flick onto all of your opponents at the same time. If anybody was going to be able to do it, though, the Smoke probably would have been the best bet, but alas, DG had a read on it, and when you're running as fast as you can upstairs to come back to Yellow Stairs, DP Fire is going to hear that clear as day and try to watch as Iconic gets that diffuser down. He had a sliver of HP and still at about, I think, 3 to 4 seconds to get the objective play down. Really good start to that round, though, by Disrupt. Very coordinated on their entry, wasting no time to alleviate the presence from Mirage upstairs. Clear out connector, clear out bathroom, clear out Yellow Stairs, and then push swiftly from there.
We've seen admin office be a major factor for a lot of these rounds. Well, for both of these rounds, whether be in the feint or the actual direct take that Disrupt started with in the last one. Once again, we're going to that bottom floor site, the Archives defense here for Mirage. And they're setting up very much the same way they did last time they were here. I wonder if they feel like they're going to be able to rebuff a direct take downstairs this time around.
Entirely sure. I mean, look at this lineup here from Mirage, and it's exactly the same.
Yeah.
Right? So you're going to have to be a little bit more reactive, but I'm sure that Mirage are not going to allow that small, tiny oversight, aka that giant gaping hole in their defense the first time around, to be exploited by just simply going through the main lobby.
I mean, once again, we're seeing DG go upstairs first. And they might get rid of that shield, they might turn away, or they could possibly fully commit to the top floor. If I were DG, I might even overthink it and be like, you know what, we already did this downstairs take. Let's go ahead and, let's try and deal with this top floor roam. Oh, look at this. Nick's taking a big risk, and he's been droned out. He'll go back down banana. He does not know how close he came to losing his life there. That was a giant risk. The shuttle does not engage.
J90 was the one there helping the Lion last time around, but his job right now is upstairs along with the remaining members of Mirage that we haven't really had a good viewpoint of. His loading's inside a copy. He was just sharing shoulders with Benji not too far away. Looks like there's somebody from DG down by Visa as well, ready to walk in those Visa doors. I'm not exactly sure who that is. There's still Lion charges available for Shuttle if they want to paralyze these remaining defenders, but the good news for Mirage is that it doesn't seem like there's any glaring weaknesses like the first time around. DG are being particularly brazen here. DP Fire walks in for free. He's going to have to contend with the castle in this position and puzzlingly wins it. DP Fire, 2 kills to start things off with a minute to go in round 3.
That is rough for Mirage. The setup was perfect to counter DP Fire, but the drone work from Disrupt was awesome. That's one thing that I've noticed through all these rounds. Disrupt's drone work is just as good as it gets, honestly. And there's so much advanced information for these entries, allowing DP Fire to win gunfights with even only 20 HP.
Nyx has been able to persist in this particular area, and he'll go back into the main lobby, sees the Lion, but the EE1D will still go off. Nyx's position given away. Not too far away from him is Benji. That's just going to leave Dream down below. Iconic's been downed as well, so it's a 3v3 unless Iconic can be retrieved. Mirage have 15 seconds to just simply wait. The objective is in the hands of Disrupt, and Nyx is looking for a second now on the stairs. Able to peek him. You're going to have to move at some point. Retro getting that diffuser down. 3 kills for DP Fire. He could get a 4th if the Jaeger peeks him. We look away. Oh no! DP Fire a 4K. J90 seals the deal. Diffuser doesn't need to go down. It's 3-0 for Disrupt.
What a round from DP Fire. I'm only sorry that we didn't capture that 4th kill. But still, beautiful play from him. And DP Fire was actually one of the players in the community poll. It was him versus Quartz. And so far, if these first 3 rounds are anything to go by, almost feels like the deal is sealed at this point, Parker. This entry right here, look at that mark. We all saw the yellow ping and the follow-up kill onto the player on the mirror window, then the flank watch from...
And, well, that first round was pretty lopsided. So far, Disrupt have been doing exactly what they need to do on a map that's relatively well-balanced between attackers and defenders. So the fact that DG have opened up a 3-0 lead, at worst they will draw the first half. That bodes well for when they transition to defense.
What I'm noticing here, Parker, is that DG are playing better Siege. Not necessarily more structured, but again, I used the word, the phrase, I guess, airtight earlier. And I really do think that there's the most appropriate way to describe Disrupt's play. When they get control of somewhere, anywhere, doesn't matter where, they have flank watch. When they start executing, they're doing it together. When they're on the entry, they're droning themselves in. They're droning their teammates in, rather, I guess. But the general idea is here that Disrupt is just really well coordinated. And it is shining through in that spectacular 3-0. I am worried for Mirage because they're bringing obviously calculated setups, and they're just not working.
I mean, at least that second defense of Teller's Archives proved to be a bit more effective. I mean, you're playing a game of inches at this point, and it came close. Nyx was a huge factor in that previous round, being able to hold down lobby, catching the Lion off guard while then also watching Spiral Stairs was obviously huge, and in the latter portions of the round, not being able to flush him out worked really effectively. Quartz is going to be the first casualty, though, for this round. So the streak of Disrupt opening up the score sheet will continue. That's 4 opening duels breaking in their favor. Mirage, unfortunately, surrendering a lot of opening deaths to their opponents.
Parker, I mean, that's, yes, number one, that's great. Well played from Disrupt, yeah? Stuns to clear the ADSs, nades to follow up. Well played, you get the guy off yellow. But more importantly, that's on Mirage. What the heck are you doing on yellow stairs without ADS or my magnet protection? You have both operators, and the stun wasn't even necessary, Parker. It didn't clear an ADS because there wasn't an ADS there, evidently. That's on Mirage. That's on Quartz.
Well, it's at least an attempt at a different bomb site now, as Mirage have been wholly unsuccessful wherever they've gone. Haven't gone upstairs just yet. That's a bomb site that we don't see with the same frequency that we used to. Since the advent of Teller's archives to this map, it has become a 1A, 1B, 1C type deal, almost.
Yeah.
With that opening pick surrendered, though, by the way, Mirage is really going to take some major chances here, and Benji almost loses his head for it, but you're going to try to get that kill back, which you surrendered earlier on. Quartz only being 1 and 4, obviously not great for his team, but Benji gets a little bit too greedy, and there could be an explosive end to him. They're going to try to pick him up. It almost does some significant damage, but that's J90 with kill number 2, leaving Mirage in a 3v5. The upper hand has been Disrupts in every single round, and that will continue on now. Loading will try to stop one. He'll get it. It's DP Fire. That's a big casualty for Disrupt with how good DP Fire has been so far. Nyx tightening things up even further. Now Retro taking damage, but he'll outfrag Nyx. J90 waiting for loading, and he'll get him. It's Dream in a 1v3. Disrupt have really not shown any signs of slowing down whatsoever, and yeah, Dream's got a lot to do on his shoulders right now. He's on smoke, just a tiny portion of HP. Not very much time left. Diffuser getting planted, it goes down, and a nice spray control from Dream to take out Retro. 2 more targets for him. He'll vault outside. Beautiful play, but he's detected. Shuttle will have to shut him down. Will he wait it out? That's the real question. Diffuser is down, Shuttle upstairs, spotted. Dream's going to take matters into his own hands. Smoke it off, and there's some more cover to try and deal some damage to Shuttle. The thing for Dream is how low he is on HP. Shuttle just needs to shoot him through the floor. All he's got to do is find him. He doesn't see him. Shuttle will drop. He's on the diffuser. How do you not know where he is? Mirage ends up taking it. Shuttle can't see through the smokes. Goodness gracious. Mirage end up taking a puzzling round.
Oh no, Parker! Is he wearing the sunglasses? Is that
Take them off! Take off the shades, man!
Is that why he couldn't see through the smoke? I mean, the smoke is often different for all of us, so I want to just kind of temper expectations for all of the viewers here. Understand, the smoke might be different on Shuttle's screen. Monitor settings, the fact that he may or may not be wearing sunglasses, he usually is. There's a lot of factors, okay? So, as embarrassing as that is, just keep that in mind. He may have seen things differently than us. Well played to Dream. Holy heck, what a round for Mirage to take. I will say that it was Disrupt's round to win, and they didn't.
That one is just... If you know he's on the diffuser, and you know where the diffuser's planted, you got 70 bullets in that gun. Or is it 81? It's like 81 bullets in that gun. Just spray. When you shoot your gun, you know what ends up happening, and you hit somebody, it makes like a... It sounds like you're punching meat. Like you're punching a steak. Just like...
Yeah.
I'm not making the noise again.
All right.
But it makes a noise. I mean, there's so many ways he could have played that. Shuttle was slow. He knew that he had control upstairs. He knew that he had the hatch. It was a very smart play by Dream. Getting the pick on Retro right as Retro came off diffuser. Mind you, Disrupt needs a wag of the finger. There was nobody protecting Retro.
Yeah.
J90 was rappelling up, presumably to rappel in the connector for the retake. Shuttle was already up there. Retro was downstairs all on his own, nobody watching him whatsoever, and Dream was let loose, and he wreaked havoc on Disrupt.
Yeah, I mean, it was a series of unfortunate events. It was also, early action, and DP Fire's gonna get Benji on Visa stairs. Benji, with still holding that donut, not going to be able to find anything this round, and DP going to continue his streak of domination. As I was trying to say, Parker, I mean, it was a series of unfortunate events for DG, and it was also Dream with zero hesitation on every play decision he made. I love that about Dream. I love the way he played that last round. So as confusing as Shuttle's play was, I really want to highlight how well Dream did to win that 1v3. Anyway, with the early pick going to Disrupt yet again, they continue their flawless record, but we've seen them lose rounds when they get the early pick. I guess even if it's like really puzzling when it happens.
DP Fire right now is 911, so if you're Mirage, this is the time when you call the police. As he is absolutely murdering your team. Watching DP Fire's transformation as a player so far through this stage has been phenomenal. You know, I think there were some questions when he was brought on to DG, as he wasn't a household name. Obviously, yeah. Mark has been around for a while, but boy, oh boy, J90, Iconic, and DP Fire, when they are on, they are such a threat, and it's a big part of why DG have always been so competitive, despite not exactly having the best results. I mean, they're in 5th place.
Yeah.
The opportunity for them to go to the major is still very much theirs, and like we said, the win conditions for these teams to make it, if Mirage lose in regulation, that's it, they're done. As far as I'm aware, that's not the end of the road for DG, but we'll wait and see. Is there some action occurring? Nyx is isolated by 3 members of DG. Who are we talking about? Because they were all involved in that one. It's a murder scene upstairs. Now it's Quartz on a beautiful shot onto Iconic. Disrupt still have that advantage, though it will narrow. 35 seconds remaining. The last players from Mirage either on the site or close enough to. DP Fire's walking wounded. Another shot from Quartz on that same angle, trying to do some more damage. DG has the upper hand in terms of numbers. Waiting on Retro to open up that garage wall. The first defense down here did not work out so well for Mirage, but it did get very, very close. Quartz is doing his best to try and keep his team in this one. Now he's equalized it into a 3v3. J90 could be the next one up, playing by that deployable shield. He sees the heal, but just a second. Is it the Achilles heel, of course? That's the real question. Down he goes. Dream is going to rush right in. It's a roll reversal. Dream! He stops the diffuser. 2 times in a row, this man's involved with that diffuser in the smoke. He's unstoppable, and Mirage have now won 2 rounds in a row.
Dream has one, and he is living it right now. The single shining light for Mirage. No one else really putting up the effort here, it seems. Quartz, a really good round. I like those shots on the drop. Surprised he got 2 on the angle. Honestly, it's got to become predictable at a certain point. But now, Disrupt have let 2 rounds slip away to the Dream himself. And I don't know. You got to ask, when is that going to stop happening, Parker? Because, I mean, it really is just Dream's individual efforts at clutching up that are causing this. Plus, Disrupt's less than ideal coverage of the planter.
What did I say before the timeout was taken by Mirage, by the way? Back in round number 3, Mirage took a timeout. And I said, well, you know what? I don't have any stats to back me up on this one. But I feel like Mirage always thrives after a timeout, and they've won both rounds since then. Disrupt is going to try to blunt that now, as this is the very last crack at attack for DG before the side swap. And even though there isn't any momentum game mechanics, there is definitely mental momentum here with the way that you play the matchup and you play against your opponents. I have no doubt that those last 2 rounds are going to frustrate DG. Yes, nobody had any coverage. Nobody had any coverage for Retro. And yeah, there's a couple different ways that people could argue that Shuttle could have potentially played that diffuser, though if he had just sprayed wildly, Dream could have gotten off that diffuser at that point and then just shot upwards and killed him as well. It was a great clutch by Dream. And then the second time around that we just saw, he played that one perfectly as well. The smoke had isolated the diffuser that was being planted, and unfortunately for them, the position of where that diffuser was being planted was not being watched by Disrupt either. So Dream was again able to play off of excellent game sense and capitalize off of it, and take advantage of just tiny missteps by Disrupt. Now DG is going to call a timeout, and you hope that if you're a fan of Disrupt, that they're able to get their head back in the game here, because they have looked very good, and I would argue that through these 5 rounds, they have been far and away the better team, but that doesn't always necessarily translate to a victory. This is going to be a 3rd attempt at Teller's Archives for Mirage. They have never pulled off a successful defense on this site, despite the fact that their second defense of it did turn out a little bit better than the first time overall. This is an opportunity for Mirage to finally win a site that has eluded them, and then tie up this first half and basically hit a reset button as we go the second half of this match.
Once again, Disrupt starting with the top over clear in CEO. Last time, Disrupt decided to commit fully to the top clear and got all of the roamers upstairs before converting to a site hit. First time they attacked this site, they started with the top clear and then late rotated to hit site directly downstairs. So we'll see what Disrupt does this time around. They're going to be a known quantity in all likelihood, no matter which attack they bring out. So it's going to come down to them out-dueling Mirage, although that has not been a tall order for Disrupt so far. Mirage has been struggling when it comes to the score. I mean, you can take a look at the scoreboard for yourself. Dream with 4 kills, the man who single-handedly won 2 rounds for Mirage. The rest of it really speaks for itself.
They needed a big game from Dream here as well.
Yeah.
He's been somebody who's been able to pull off miracles in the past, and while he might not light up the scoreboard, I would struggle to find anybody on Mirage who gets as high impact kills as Dream does. And if he can show up in the moments when you need him the most, then that's going to go a long way. And he basically stole 2 rounds from Disrupt in rounds 4 and 5. So is he topping the scoreboard on his team? Yeah, he actually is. Not in game, but those 4 kills have been extraordinarily important.
Yeah. Now, as you can see, Disrupt have still struggled to take control of admin office. They're looking for Quartz, and they'll find him. What a reaction from Retro. 2 more players in admin office, though, and that's going to be the second for Iconic, who gets read by Dream, who in turn gets taken down by Shuttle. So it's a back and forth split here. Mirage 1 down. Mira window control lost, but it's open. Benji will lose a lot of HP to that challenge, but he's still alive, still fighting until he's not. Now it's all on Nyx, and there it is, the trade to end out the round. Parker, all of that action taking place by admin office.
Well, an interesting setup from Disrupt. They didn't bring a single hard breacher. I'm not sure if that was noted on their lineup when they were going through the operator phase. So DG foregoing that, Retro was on the Jackal instead of the Thermite, and then it was just a purely pugilistic lineup to take control of that top floor and then go from there. And while Mirage didn't want to concede it at all, that also plays to the fact, like what we said, was that Mirage, after that very first round where the defense was exploited by the open hatch inside a lobby, Mirage obviously took a little bit more care to shore up their weaknesses and make sure that they were holding appropriate map control, be it on that first floor, bottom floor, or the top floor, which disallowed Disrupt from just simply bull rushing the site. Unfortunately, you lost a couple gunfights on Mirage, you were battling some repellers on the window, and then utility just didn't really help you out the way you wanted to, and then actually worked against you, as you noted when that Mira window went in control of the attackers, when they were able to take control of Copier and Vending Machine and then push from there into admin and isolate the remaining players from Mirage. So at least they get 2 rounds, though. It certainly seemed like the sky was falling for Mirage. They took their timeout. They steal 2 rounds from DG, but the timeout from Disrupt has now netted them at least 1 round, and they'll go on to defense. They'll be starting downstairs on Garage. We saw this bomb site twice. It was split 50-50 for the attackers and defenders.
Parker, I'd agree with you when you say steal 2 rounds. That's the most apt way I think I could describe those 2 that Mirage got. This could easily be a 6-0 right now, and I think that's worth considering. Disrupt have had overall the better siege, but they've had some small gaps left in their attacks, and Dream is just the man to find those gaps and exploit them. So well done to Dream. He really knows what he's up about in this match. I don't know if that can be relied upon, though, now that we're on the second half. We'll see how Mirage's attacks go, but generally this is looking a lot like a Disrupt map. And we've noted that Disrupt are really good on Consulate before. Again, this is where in Stage 1, they managed to beat TSM, which is no small feat.
I mean, look at the score sheet right now. Obviously, as action is occurring, obviously some roam clear is happening from Mirage. You hear one of the EE1Ds going off, and the second floor looks to be in the hands of Mirage. They're going to have to deal with Shuttle and DP Fire down below, but prior to that, if you just simply look at, and it's a lazy assessment, I know, but if you look at the score sheet right now, J90 and DP Fire have 20 kills. Mirage in total have 16. So it really goes to show you that obviously DG are steps ahead in terms of what they want to bring. They're clearing well. They also got some objective play down. I don't really think there was any weaknesses for them other than the missed opportunities that they had for coverage in rounds 4 and 5. And will those come back to haunt them? We don't know, but it certainly gave a huge boost to DG.
Oh.
DG's also been perfect on the opening duels, by the way. Retro almost makes that 7 rounds in a row as Nyx doesn't look to his left, looks to his right instead, and now he'll march into the smoke, and he gets taken down by a combination of shuttle as well as a smoke that was tossed out by none other than J90, and DG will continue to just absolutely pound Mirage on the score sheet. Quartz is next one in the line of fire as Benji is dragged down as well.
Retro eating just a little bit of HP from that nade. He heard the pin pull, and he ran away. Just a sliver of HP for Retro. But the fact that he's alive in Visa means that Mirage has to keep turning around and worrying about their flank. And they don't have enough manpower to place anyone on flank watch right now. It's a 3 versus 5. They need to put all their focus on the site as they start to hit the last 30 seconds.
I don't know how aggressively Quartz can play here too, especially when J90 is up and that smoke still has 2 canisters left as well. 2 ticks and Quartz is as good as dead. One will go out over towards Yellow Stairs, and J90's position for a second is revealed from that lion scan. He's going to watch the hatch to make sure that nobody's dropping on down, but he'll have to cover a multitude of angles. Last smoke goes out, and that'll cover long enough so that Loading will have to take some damage if he goes to drop. Dream gets the garage door opened up, and he'll rush right in, but Iconic tracks him beautifully, pivots, and 2 big kills for Iconic. A flawless round will occur if Quartz can't do anything, and technically Quartz stays alive, but nobody from DG dies. So we'll give him the flawless. It's 5-2 as Disrupt takes their very first defense.
Yeah, and Parker, if that's indicative of anything, and I do think it is, it's Disrupt likely to lock this one out. I'm already feeling the winds of defeat here for Mirage. Again, right now, we could be done. Right now, it's 5-2. This could be 7-0 currently, if not for Dream's efforts. So, I mean, that does say a lot. Dream and Quartz. Quartz in that second win that they managed to get was a big role player. Anyway, let's talk about that attack just a little bit. Top floor clear all the way down to play vertical, but then the vertical play didn't end up doing very much. More importantly, you didn't get anything off of the roam clear. In fact, you lose 2 players to the roamers. And now you're opening up above. You still have to worry about your flank, and you have very few seconds left. It's tricky.
While we're talking about that, by the way, we have to give a subtle nod to the fact that Disrupt does indeed have some skin in the game. 2 skins, actually. You can pick up the R4C Disrupt skin right now. It's a part of the R6 share program, and a portion of those proceeds will go towards the team and to the players. You can do that right now in-game if you so choose. There's a variety of teams in the North American League with skin in the game, and I'm sure more of them will pop up as we continue through today's matchup.
Yeah, and you know, I think if anything, Disrupt's play through today has earned some recognition here. And if you want to support that, again, the skins are a great way to do that directly for them. It's been good siege from Disrupt. Now, the big question I have, Parker, is that now we're going to top floor. This is a site that is notoriously difficult to hold. What does Disrupt have to make this their site? Are they going to be able to actually bring this one home? Because again, very difficult site to defend.
Very little wiggle room. If you're going to clear top down, well, there's no top for you to clear down. You're usually going to try to take control of admin and then move in that direction. If you can claim the back of long desk, which is kind of where Retro was playing just a moment ago, then you're in a pretty good spot as an attacking team. One thing that can obviously help is if you have intel upstairs. A yokai drone, a bulletproof camera, an evil eye cam, a black eye cam. Obviously, this is dependent on which operators are banned. With Valkyrie ban, that's going to make it quite challenging. Pulse as well. But then you can play from below and maybe have a Nitro cell as a backup plan. So I'm not entirely certain. We don't see this bomb site often, and actually this is the very first time in the 8 rounds that we've played so far today that this console office site has shown up.
Ooh, rotate cutoff here from Quartz. That could be big if J90 decides to use that rotate. Currently, he's playing on his Castle Barricade, trying to control it. Here it comes, and ooh, position given away, damage done, but no kill. And with J90 having 12 kills, him scurrying away from that engagement alive is definitely not ideal for Mirage.
The other thing, too, is that a UMP is not a gun that you necessarily want to be fragging on. I know that there's jokes, especially on this map, from a very certain former NA player who used a UMP to great effect at SI last year. But with the fact that the Castle's lost about 30 HP and has a UMP, in a lot of gunfights, Castle is going to lose against higher DPS weapons, and, well, I could imagine him ending up in even worse shape now due to the fact that he's lost some HP. All that said, Michael, this is the final minute of action now. Mirage have successfully claimed admin, and they're looking to try and put some presence onto the remaining defenders that are playing on the west side of the building down by that console office, as they've also got control of Projector now.
Oh.
Dream trying to get the diffuser down. Will there be anybody there to stop him? Iconic on the flank.
What?
Nobody sees him.
What?
No flank watch whatsoever from Mirage, and Iconic gets 2 kills and immediately walks away. The pendulum swings back, though, and Mirage are able to keep it relatively even. They'll have to retrieve that diffuser and get the plant down, as they've got 30 seconds left to try to pull this one off. Loading now, ascending Visa stairs. He's got Quartz not too far away. The problem is that the diffuser was surrendered inside of the bomb site. So you're going to be walking right into the lion's den on this one. And DG will have some crosses to stop you from pushing in. There's a kill from Retro onto Loading, shutting them down. Quartz has been dropped. Nyx will have to be the hero here. Is he writing the story, or is he simply along for the ride? DG know this, and Iconic will pick up kill number 3 to push Disrupt to match point. And one round could determine whether the hopes of going to Mexico for Mirage are dashed.
Look at that. See that look on Iconic's face right there? His arms up in the air? That's how I feel too, Parker. That's how I feel too. Because you open above the Visa staircase through the wall in admin office so that you can do what, Parker? Flank watch. You can flank watch. You hold the flank.
You know, since we're not in person, hard to tell if it's a rhetorical question or not.
Yeah. And it's just puzzling to me. I get it. Like, we were talking about how in the first half, Disrupt's attacks were so airtight. That's the word. Those are the words I used. I think they were accurate. A lot of good flank watch, a lot of good entry on the drone. So much good siege being played by Disrupt. Then we go into this second half. Now Mirage is letting somebody, Iconic, walk up Visa staircase as they're trying to quick plant in, what was that, a 5v5? I'm sorry, what? Like, you know something's going to happen when you try for that plant, which means you need to double down on your angles inside, and you have to be sure that your flank is being watched. I mean, it's little things. It's little things, Parker. They go a long way. I've said it before. It's, you know, it's the basic execution.
While we talk about flank watch, though, I do think it is remiss if we don't mention that both Zero and Nomad are the 2 attackers banned. So Nomad is almost exclusively ran by a lot of teams for flank watch, if not for the way that her air jabs are used, but just for her as an operator and the way that the players tend to use her. Zero can be used as a scouting operator to get intel, but can also have those Argus cams, aka Sam cams, lined up for flank watch as well. The only other really strong flank watch operator we tend to see in the game is Gridlock, and her pick rate, well, it's pretty low. So you have to do that work yourself. It is semi-clear to me as we watch this matchup go on that maybe Mirage are not the most coordinated team at the moment. They've had some stumbles, as of DG, fair play. But they've had some stumbles working together, and flank watch is something that if you don't have somebody deliberately set up in that position, presumably seeing the lineup that Mirage has, it's going to be Loading tasked with flank watch more than anything. And if you're not communicating effectively, it's easy for that kind of thing to slip through the cracks, especially if you're starting to feel the heat. And well, this is a young team on Mirage. They know that a loss here means that they're out of the race to go to Mexico, and well, that's just a lot to think about. The good news is, this is the very first opening pick for Mirage, and Dream's getting the diffuser down already. Look at this pace. This is huge. Nobody seems to know. Nyx spots 1. He'll pick off Retro. He could go for more. Benji takes some damage. Now Nyx is getting shut down, but Iconic dies. Dream is felled, but Disrupt have 35 seconds to grab this diffuser in a 2v4 on a lobby take. This was impressive stuff from Mirage. Wasn't I just talking about coordination? Well, they proved me wrong here. J9O looks away at the wrong time, but he can outduel Nyx. Diffuser down inside of the lobby. DP fire from above will try to give some coverage. J9O getting on that diffuser. Can they hit him from this angle? That's the real question. DP fire doesn't know where they're located. Loading picks off 1, but J9O is still on it. No! Stunned at the last second by the Zofia, and he gets shut down. Remarkable. The diffuser was on .1, and Disrupt could have had it. But it's Mirage's round, and we move on to round 10.
That was a close one, Parker. And once again, Mirage just swiping these rounds away. But this one was definitely the most Mirage-favored round I've seen from them so far. Well played on the quick plant in sight, just going straight for it. Disrupt clearly not prepared for that. And their reaction was not well timed. Mirage ready to counter the rotations that Disrupt pulled out to try and retake their own site. It's a difficult thing when you see those blenders set up for the retake. It's exactly what Mirage did, and yeah, Disrupt walked right into it.
This has been a remarkable game to cast, by the way, so far,
Yeah.
and I mean, I expected it to be relatively close. The scoreline still isn't that close. Disrupt could have very easily won this game already on 2 separate occasions. But you cannot tell me that some of these rounds have not been absolute nail-biters and just a total thriller.
It has been an absolutely thrilling match, Parker.
See? You didn't tell me, so you couldn't tell me. I was right.
What?
I said you can't tell me that this matchup hasn't been thrilling, and you couldn't, so that's why you didn't say it. Yeah.
I couldn't tell you that.
You couldn't tell me it.
It's been thrilling. It has.
That's the rules.
Yeah, I agree with that. I signed that document. The question though, Parker, for me is when is this gonna break for Mirage? Because that last round was great. It was a bit of a an odd one though. They went for a quick plant. It got away with it. Now we're going right back to the main lobby. Clearly, Disruptor saying, you know what, that worked for you one time. It's not going to work for you again. Try it, please. So is this going to be where Disrupt locks it out? That's the question, because they still have been playing, in my opinion, better Siege so far.
You talked about whether Mirage just simply does things that are predetermined, premeditated, or if they react based upon it, whether they were on defense or now on attack. And that's a good question. Was that rush strategy something that they had lined up ahead of time, or were they able to do that based on instinct with the way that they saw DG's setup? Retro's in a tough space now, though, and he's going to get finished off the same way that so many players from Mirage did, which is a nade on yellow stairs. Both of those magnets cleared out quite well by both Nyx and Benji, and that'll be the very first body to fall for DG. In terms of the 10 rounds that have been played, 8 of them have been won in the moments at the beginning by Disrupt by getting those opening picks. The fact that Mirage has now been able to do that on 2 separate rounds shows that something is clearly working out in their favor.
Yeah, it's a good start there for Mirage, and they're going to continue that. The Lion's been a major factor for both of these teams, and it will be so for Mirage as well here, denying rotations, denying a refrag. This yellow stairs control is huge. Nyx will take a little bit of damage from Iconic, but he's still holding on to that yellow staircase, and he's going to be forcing the push there. Look at that. Iconic pushed off of his location. Nyx gets the cross, and another kill for Mirage. As they start racking these up, they're looking better and better on these attacks, Parker.
Well, Nyx has been huge in the last 2 rounds, and if he can continue to play well, then his team's chances will skyrocket. Shuttle's going to hunt him down, though, as it's Nyx flashing on the stairs. Shuttle will push through it. He dies. This is going real well for Mirage. 2 kills for Nyx, technically. Jade, I know, trying to retake. Diffuser gets planted yet again. DP Fire's been so good, but a flawless round for Mirage. And this match is tightening in a hurry. 2 more rounds in a row for Mirage. It's still match point for DG, but at this point, they gotta be sweating.
Yeah, that's tricky, Parker. That is, and I agree with you. Sweat has got to be the feeling we've got on the side of Disrupt now, because they're letting their lead slip away. And that, I mean, every win Mirage gets is better than the one they got prior. The first time they won that attack on the main lobby, it was like, oh, okay, it's a quick plant. You can get away with those if the enemy team's not ready. That round, though, flawless round. Great roam clear, good vertical play, good teamwork on forcing rotations to get those picks in sight on the anchors. And then you're covering your plant, get that plant down, and it really didn't even matter at the end, as the last defender is flanking. Well done to Mirage. They're starting to pick up their attacks, and they are really putting these rounds together in beautiful fashion. They are earning these rounds for sure. I do think this could be over already, Parker, but I'm glad that it's not.
I think we both agreed on that one. Those 2 rounds from Mirage earlier on, those desperation plays that we saw, and the heroic efforts of one man, Mr. Dream himself, to be able to win those rounds and steal them away was the word that we used to describe it. Those 2 rounds are the only reason why this game is not in the books already. And if Mirage ends up turning this one around in OT, then boy, oh boy, are we going to have some fun looking at who might or might not end up going to that major. And believe me, these matchups are obviously big in terms of the stage itself, but there are greater implications at play in regards to who wins and who doesn't, because every team is going to want to go to represent their region in Mexico next month.
Yeah, it's so much pressure, and it's especially apparent for Mirage because, as we mentioned earlier, this is their last match of the stage. They have the bye tomorrow, so or not tomorrow. So consecutive play days. They have the bye next week, so that's worth considering. Early on here, some damage done to Iconic. Half HP just about. He's trying to impact Trick on the garage through the drone hole. Here comes the XO, and it's a miss for Iconic with his last impact.
Unfortunate stuff to stop that, but that's all right. You've been able to open up one passageway into the site. This is the second attempt at defending Garage so far for Disrupt. They took it on their very first attempt, which also happened to be their first defense all the way back in round number 7. Mirage are going to try something a little bit different, though, this time. They were quite slow to open up that garage panel back in round number 7. Instead, this time, they're going to try to clear downstairs quite aggressively. Nyx, who has been the spearhead so many times, is trying to find Retro, but my goodness, Mirage excellent on that entry. The very first 2 picks will go in their favor. 3 rounds in a row now, but Shuttle from above still has that supremacy inside of lobby, and he'll take down Nyx. So at least one member of Mirage is silenced. They spot another out by the breach. Iconic is going to attempt some fake here and just narrowly missing out on Dream, who's a pretty good shot himself. Iconic, though, has been heating up as the longer this matchup has gone on. Benji will enter through the back of the site, run right into Iconic. DG is just shutting everything down, and now Shuttle finds himself in a 1v1 against Loading for the match. Downstairs, Loading will have to shoot away at the Banshee as he burns yet another EE1D. The only utility he has is a Claymore. He's going to try to plant this diffuser. Will Shuttle see him in time? No Nitro Cell, so Shuttle will have to play off of this. You see him, Shuttle! There it is, and there's the match! No worries whatsoever. The chances of going to Mexico for Mirage are gone. They managed to put together an impressive streak, but DG clutches it out in the end, and the matchup goes to DG 7-4.
And how poetic that Shuttle makes up for that earlier mishap